I don't play many games solo, but this is definitely a contender to be one of those things. This is Super Skill Pinball by Skill4Cade. They've had a few other Super Skill Pinballs that have come out, and the premise is you're playing pinball. That's it. Have you ever heard of pinball before? No, it's not the villain from Hellraiser. That's a different one. Pinball is the thing with the flicky bumpers and you want to get an enormous high score. Well, that's exactly what this game is. You have your own little arcade experience, 4 of them. In fact, you're going to pick from the Carnival, that's just like the standard one, Cyber Hack, where you're hacking into the mainframe, Dance Fever, and Coach from Survivor. Oh, sorry, Dragon Slayer. You're the Dragon Slayer. All of these give you a different pinball ensemble, a pinball machine that you have to navigate your way through. We'll use the Carnival one just for our example purposes. And it's one of the easiest games that you've played. You just are trying to keep your pinball up as much as possible. You have 3 balls, 1, 2, 3, and you're going to start by slamming them into the top of the area. You're going to roll your dice. In the case of doubles, you just got to deal with it. But if it's not doubles, you choose one of the 2 numbers. In this case, I'm going to choose a 6, and you cross that out wherever you are. Then on the next roll, your pinball still has to obey the laws of gravity. You're going to roll 2 dice. I got a 2 and a 1. It's going to head down here into the next section. You can see there are these little white lines to separate each of the sections kind of into 4 different sections. And then you're going to choose which one to scratch off. A 2. Boom. I've scratched it off. We're going to continue. You roll the dice again. 6 and 3. I've fallen down over here. Now I can choose to activate over here. Or I can choose to activate over here. These ones, the specific examples for here. Once you cross out all of these, you can get a permanent bonus. So since I want to work on this feat of strength, and that's what this is, I'm going to cross out the 6 over here. And then I'm going to roll the dice again. It's a 2 and a 1. If I choose the 1, I've got to go into the gutter. That's the end of my round. I got to use another ball. But I would get 2 points for every red flipper box. Instead, I'm going to use a 2 and cross that one out. That's going to give me 2 points because I've used the 2. And so what I just do is I just go bloop, bloop, and put them on my score. And then the next one, when I roll my dice, 3 and 4, I'm going to get shot up to wherever I want that has a red section. So I can't quite get to the top because those are only yellow numbers, but see how these are red here and those are red and this is red? I could bounce over here and then bounce back down. I could bounce up. I'm going to choose to go up and fill in the 3, and then you continue along the way. You're constantly cycling things through. You're going to have times where you can send yourself up and get a whole crap load of points. And when one of your balls drops out, well, don't worry. You've got another ball. Once you go through all 3 of your balls, the game is over. Whoever has the most points wins. This is the most basic of the maps. The things that you can activate are sort of permanent abilities. You get points for filling things in. The further you go up, the more points you get on your feat of strength. If you manage to fill in all of one of these bumpers, you can erase them all and get a bunch of points. And with the bumpers, if you've done a 2 and your next roll is a 3, well, you can just keep on bumping around up top, right? You can hope that, okay, I just hit the 3s. You put your ball over there to remember where you are. And I roll a 6. Great. I don't actually have to drop down to the next one. I'm just going to bounce to the 6. And we're going to roll again. And a 4 and a 5. Oh, I can't bounce back up, so I got to go down here. I'm going to do the 5 so that I get a point, right? This is a game that requires 0 interactivity. None. I don't want to play this with anybody else. I just want to sit and do my own little pinball score. You basically say, okay, hi friend. I'm going to put my head down now, and I'll see you at the finish line. There's no interaction. None of the things let you bounce your pinball into somebody else's machine. That would be completely unthematic. It's just you against whichever one of these 4 machines suits your fancy. And it's a fun game. It's very calming, you know? I can sit here, I can just roll my dice as you saw with the example, and I want to keep going. I want to see what my best score is. You're trying to beat your best score. It is intensely thematic because that's the experience of pinball. Pinball is not a group sport. Pinball is, frankly, pretty boring. And this is better. I don't have any skill at pinball, but I do have skill at rolling dice. And shout out goes to WizKids. These dice are really nicely marbled. they're satisfying to roll, and the dry erasers haven't failed me yet in terms of getting rid of everything. A couple other points that I forgot to mention. There's some mitigation. You have this little portion here where you can nudge a ball. If you really needed that 5 to be a 6, you can go, yeah, I'm going to make that a 6. I'm going to make it a 6. Boom, you make it a 6. And then you put a little level 1 nudge in your box. And then the next roll, as long as the difference between the two dice is greater than or equal to the amount that you nudged, so here I'm fine because the difference is 1. If I had nudged something 2 spots, right, if that was a 2, I would tilt, and my entire pinball machine would fall over, and I would lose my ball, and it's horrendous. So there's a way to mitigate it. I like that aspect of it. I think all the little mini games are fun. The Dragon Slayer is a fun one, not just because you're Coach from Survivor, but because you get to start with one of these level 1 spells. You can kind of upgrade your spells as it is. I don't think the Carnival is a good reflection upon the differences between the pinball levels, but they all feel satisfying in their own different way. I'm not a solo player, and this is a game that even just pulling out right now and rolling the dice, I'm kind of annoyed you're here. I'm mad that you're here at this channel watching me, and I just want to continue to roll and see how much I can level up my stats, right? It's a really relaxing game, but it's also a very simple game. You know, there's really not a lot of thought to it. It's just kind of chucking some dice, seeing how much you bounce around, and seeing what your high score is. That style of game for me can never sort of elevate itself to beyond great heights, but I recognize that it's a fun time. I think it's a good game, and I've enjoyed my time with it for sure. In terms of rating, I would give this like a 3.5 out of 5. I think it's good. I think it's a good game. I think if you are a solo player, you should absolutely check this out. If you like roll and writes and you're a solo player, check it out. Hands down, super relaxing. If you like beat your own high score, this is the game for you. This doesn't take that much energy and effort. And when you're tired out and you just want to flick those little pins and roll the dice, it's kind of fun. It's fun seeing what's going to come up. It's fun seeing the reaction. And I think it's a really, really cool implementation of a theme that I have never been very interested in. And this makes me more interested in pinball than pinball ever has. At the end of the day, it's still pinball. But it's still a pretty good time. So definitely check it out. I think there are going to be people who find this is their go-to late night relaxation game, for sure. Easy to implement, not huge rules overhead. A little bit, like once you need to know all the different rules of the different boards and how they all chain together. That's kind of fun to figure out. I really like in the Hackers one, as you go up, you're getting spat out with the red one up into this round. It says fill the cache with the unused dice. So you get to use both dice if you're sending yourself up, right? Like little tweaks like that are fun. It's fun. And these little pinballs are fun to push around and hold where you are to make sure that you know what spot you're on so the bumper can just move around. I just prefer games with a high level of interactivity, and this has 0 of that. It's a solo game that you can play with your friends if you really want to. And for some people, they'll really vibe with that, and others, not as much. But yeah, for me, quite enjoyed it. I think it's quite a good game, and think anybody who likes solo especially, you should definitely check this out. Or Roll and Rights. Either or. I think it's a solid one. And it's cheap too. I mean, it's a small box. Check it out. That's it. My name's Chris George. I don't have a catchphrase. You can have a rule book where you can record your high scores, or you can put it in the app. Who knows? Thanks so much for watching. Let me know if you like Super Skill Pinball. Let me know if you've played any of the future iterations as well, because there's been more packs. And I like that in terms of games, that they're all standalone, and you can just get whatever pack, whatever themed pinball machine, shoots your balls, slaps your springs, and cranks your balls again. I gotta get out of here.